become who we want to be as individuals, and at the end of the day, that's going to help us be a successful offense.
Man-to-man, one-on-one coverage because the safety rolls to Jefferson's side.
Jordan Love hit me up the night of the draft, just congratulating me, let me know it was time to work. A.J. Dillon was open arms.
Von Rock caught a ball with his thighs. We didn't even talk about that.
It was more of with his ass.
If he throws a good ball, this is a running, catching touchdown untouched.
Like, KP does like these flips after every win, and I'm like just waiting for him to do his flip.
To know that we still love each other, that's what football brings us.
Across the safety's face.
You can tune in anywhere that you guys follow us on social media. Welcome to the Practice Squad podcast. My name is John. I got duped into picking the Saints by my co-host Mark this past week.
It's all part of the plan.
That was my only loss.
It's all part of the plan.
I would have a positive betting record if it wasn't for Mark and Zach just bullying the shit out of me over that game.
Not only am I good at picking winners, John, I know who's going to lose, and then I get you to pick the losers.
I hate you for that, but seriously, when I watched that game, I told myself in that moment that's what I'm going to start the show with, like just all that.
I was laughing the whole time watching it, seeing the score, like an idiot fell for it.
Oh man.
Classic.
Good week of football for a lot of reasons, right? It's Thanksgiving week, so you're getting 3 games on Thursday, a game on Black Friday, which is new. You got the game on Saturday. You have NFL football Sunday, and now it's currently halftime. Monday Night Football, in which we'll talk about it. We'll keep an eye on the score because it's the last game that we'll cover in our recap, so it'll kind of be winding down by then. But it is 3-3 at the half. And the Bears should be up by 4 scores right now, based off of, they've had 2 picks. They had dropped what was probably a pick 6. They've had a bunch of stupid calls not go their way. It's already an annoying game. And as Lions fans, as Mark and I are, we're hoping the Bears win this one. And they should be, and they're not. So,
Bears are going to bear, dude.
Yep, bear down.
Bears are going to bear.
All right. So first things first, we're going to talk college football. And before we get into the playoffs, which, there's going to be a nice long discussion to be had there based off of the teams that are on the playoff bubble, we're going to talk about the game. Because I've had to endure a lot of shit as a Michigan fan past 4 or 5 weeks here. I think it's time for me to stand on my pedestal and say, all right, didn't have Jim Harbaugh. You didn't have cheating. You didn't have this or that. Ohio State fans have been attributing apparently all of the University of Michigan's success the past 2 years to nothing that's going on the field, but everything that's going on off the field. And now you go out there and, in my opinion, you play a rather imperfect game. You're forced to, I think, do things that Michigan football doesn't love doing. Had to make a couple scoring drives through the air rather than through the run game. And they still come out and win it, seal the deal with an interception on what would have been a game-winning drive that was starting to heat up. It was glorious. I was with Hannah and her parents celebrating Thanksgiving. We went to a bar. We were the only Michigan fans in this part of the bar, surrounded by Ohio State fans, and just watching their confidence and their chatter kind of dwindle throughout the game was awesome. And it's nice to come out on top three years in a row, essentially, if you're a Michigan fan. So that's my pedestal. That's my rant. Everybody can shut the frick up about sign stealing gate because Michigan just beat Ohio State fair and square, missing their head coach.
John, I have been, a critic of Michigan for this whole sign stealing thing. I've called them out. It's bullshit. They cheated. They deserve to be punished. They got punished. But what I also said was, you just woke up a monster, right? You just gave a team that doesn't need added motivation, and you took away their coach. And their toughest 3 games left, they didn't have their guy, right? And they had to find a way to kind of crawl out of this. They felt like their backs are against the wall. The whole world's against them, like you just said. Michigan versus everybody is a very real thing, and it became even more real when that punishment came down on Harbaugh and suspended him for these games. This is the best case scenario for Michigan. It is the best case scenario what just happened. You already served your punishment for cheating, right? So you can't say, well, we cheated to get to where we are, because they just did it without cheating, right? They just proved they can do it without cheating. They just beat Penn State at Penn State. They just won in the game against Ohio State. and now they're going to go win the Big Ten championship and go to the playoff, all without cheating in these last few games. They did it without their head coach as well, right? So because you already served that punishment, now anything they do from here on out, you can't take that away from them, right? Because they already they got rid of Stallions, they used a different their linebackers coach as a scapegoat. But because they did all of that, they've already served their punishment. And so everything that people are going to try to say down the road, if they do pull this off and win the Big Ten and win the Natty, which they have a very real chance of doing, no one can say shit anymore because they already served their punishment. It's best case. Worst case scenario would have been wait till all this happens and then go back and say, well, you had to do this to do it, right? So if you're a Michigan fan, absolutely perfect case scenario. You get your head coach back at the right time. You've already overcome so much, and now you're just rolling. So it worked out in their favor. Turns out sometimes, cheaters still win, right? They still sometimes get the luck on their side. But it was an incredible game.
There are definitely some, I think, NFL general managers talking themselves into J.J. McCarthy as well. I thought he made some very impressive passes. Marvin Harrison might actually go first overall, depending on who has that pick. I mean, that dude is incredible. He was double covered basically that entire game, and I think his stat line was 4 or 5 receptions for 130 yards, something ridiculous, where he's averaging 20 yards a reception.
Will Johnson did a better job than most people would against him. I give him credit. And honestly, the difference in the game was just the turnovers. I mean, McCord threw 2 interceptions, right? Michigan didn't turn the ball over, and you can't, Michigan steals possessions, right? Ball security is job security. The best way to win a game is to control the turnover, win the turnover battle, and Michigan did that. They played the best part about how Michigan's won these 3 games against Ohio State is they won it with their brand, right? Mm-hmm. They didn't have to become somebody else. They didn't have to have a different identity for Ohio State week. They came out and said, this is who we are. This is how the game's going to be played, and this is how we're going to win the game. It's going to be run the ball. We're going to have to complete a couple passes, maybe a trick play here or there. We're going to play really sound defense. We're going to force a turnover or 2, and that's how we're going to beat you. And it's demoralizing because, if you're Ohio State, that's not really your brand of football. And they can try to say they're tough. You can see the insecurity about them not being tough when Lou Holtz calls them out and Ryan Day has to say, we are a tough team. We are. No, you're not. You're really not. You're a passing first team. You can run the ball a little bit when you play a real defense like Michigan. You don't consistently run the ball like you do against these other teams in the Big Ten.
And frankly, I was impressed with the run game. I will say that Ohio State, in I think the end of the third quarter, put together a lengthy, primarily, run it down their throat drive that was rather impressive. And I was also really impressed with their ability to stop Michigan's run game at times. That wasn't consistent, say, drive to drive, but there were times where it's shit, man. I feel like, Corum's not getting anything on these, run plays that I would generally expect them to get 4, 5, 6 yards a carry. And so also I would say this was the most exciting of the past 3 years, right? Michigan, had completely broken it off by the second half in the past few years. I mean, this game obviously went down to the wire. I thought both teams came and played their best football. So overall, just one of the most memorable ones that I've seen. And also the last time the stakes are ever going to be this high, right? And so this will kind of lead way into the college football playoff conversation. The game from now on is going to become a seeding conversation rather than a get in to the playoffs conversation. And Ohio State still could squeak in potentially this year. But that is what's really a huge conversation. So we can get this screen share going, and Mark and I have a good chunk of discussion to make on this particular graphic here, because, man, it is really not clear cut no matter which way you frame it. And honestly, biases aside, I would say that Ohio State has the best resume here. But there are 4 teams with 11-1 records that all have, pretty decent, respectable losses, and also have some very respectable wins. And when you look at the resumes of these 4 teams, what the hell is the committee supposed to do on this? And I think that's the question everyone's asking.
The expansion, we've talked about the expansion for years, right? And it actually is going to start happening and take place next year. Problem is, this is the year, the first time truly since we've had this college football playoff, that they actually really do need it. There's been years where like Penn State was 5th and they got left out even though they won a head-to-head against Ohio State. But, the eye test showed they probably didn't really deserve to be in. This year, I mean, you genuinely have 6 teams that have a fair argument as to why they should be in, regardless of what happens during this championship weekend. And it's a problem for the committee because somebody's going to get screwed over no matter how you put it, no matter what happens this weekend. Somebody is going to get screwed over, in my opinion, because these teams at the top, Georgia, Michigan, they're not unbeatable. So, like let's, for example, if Michigan played Oregon or Washington, I wouldn't say it's a cakewalk. I wouldn't say they're just going to win, right? We saw, TCU beat them last year. Georgia this year is not the same Georgia we've seen. Are they still a very good football team? Of course. But any one of these teams you're seeing, Ohio State, Oregon, Texas, Alabama, could compete and beat Georgia. Michigan could beat Georgia. Washington could even compete with Georgia. There's teams that the committee has to take a look at. And I want to give you an example, John, of what could happen here, right? This is a very possible thing. Let's say Florida State wins the ACC and they're undefeated, right? They're down to their 3rd string quarterback, it sounds like. Okay. Ohio State doesn't play this weekend because they lost, right? Let's say Oregon beats Washington. So they're the Pac-12 champs, and now those teams both have, Oregon has 1 loss, Washington has 1 loss. Texas wins the Big 12, and they have 1 loss, but they're a conference champ. And let's say Bama beats Georgia. Who the hell do you put in?
I have no clue. I seriously have no clue.
Who do you put in? That's a possibility to happen.
Right. Well, and what was my take at the beginning of the season, right? Is that the NCAA is going to need the expanded playoffs because NIL is going to make these programs more competitive and more close in talent to one another rather than less, right? Everybody thought NIL was just going to mean rich gets richer. If this season has shown us anything, it's been the exact opposite of that, right? I feel like this is the most competitive, as an NFL guy primarily, this is the most competitive college season that I have seen in recent memory, where I feel like,
no doubt,
Texas is the best they've been in a decade, right? Bama with 1 loss still obviously has a really good resume. Oregon's a legitimate contender for the first time since the Mariota days. Obviously, Ohio State, Michigan just beat them, but like you said, they probably have the best resume on this board. And they're not even going to have a championship weekend game to continue to assert or prove that.
Yeah.
Who the hell do you put in?
There's so much, John. You're spot on, first of all, but there's so much wrong with the way this whole playoff idea was set up with 4 teams. When it was created to be 4 teams, you're right. It was pre-NIL, and there was not as much competition amongst the top. The top teams, there was 2 or 3 every single year that no doubt was going to be the teams that fought for national championship, right? And now you genuinely have 5 or 6 teams, maybe even 7 teams that could compete and win a national championship. And I wouldn't call you crazy if you said that you could see that team winning.
Right.
The main thing is, who do you punish here, right? You have Ohio State, who has 1 loss. They don't get a chance to play in a conference championship because their 1 loss was to the 2nd best team in the country. Maybe.
Thank God they're fixing for that next year in the Big Ten too.
Right, right. But the whole thing of, do you punish Ohio State for that reason? For losing by, how much did they lose by? 5, 6 points?
6 points
to the number 2 team in the country in Ann Arbor in a rivalry game. So you punish them for that, or do you punish Texas, who has a head-to-head win against Alabama, but because the rest of their schedule wasn't as dominant and they didn't always look as clean, and they have a worse loss on their resume? Do you punish Texas even though they beat Alabama head-to-head if Bama and Texas both win? Do you punish Alabama for losing to Georgia in the national championship, in the SEC championship, and don't give them a chance to compete, even though you could probably argue eye test Alabama's maybe better than the Oregon, Texas, Washington teams we've seen? Do you punish Washington if they lose the Pac-12 championship? Because here's the thing. They're undefeated right now. Let's say Washington doesn't play in a Pac-12 championship. Ohio State's sitting at home with 1 loss. Washington's competing and playing, and if they lose, they're going to get punished for it. And Ohio State isn't, because they don't have to. They don't have a chance to lose a second game. Right. It's just, the whole thing is just so screwed up, and every year it has been, and the committee's gotten away with it because there's usually been a top 4 teams pretty clear.
Right.
But we're going to find out pretty quickly what the committee values, because Florida State, I think, is the biggest story with this, because they're undefeated. Their Heisman candidate quarterback is done for the year. Their second stringer is banged up. Sounds like he might not play this weekend in the conference championship game. and they're still favored to win that game, by the way. So if they win the ACC, which is in a down year overall, and they're undefeated, how can you not put them in? But the problem is, who do you leave out to put that team in? Because whoever they play in the playoff is probably going to whop them. They'll probably see Michigan or Georgia in the first round of the playoffs with a third string quarterback playing. You don't have a chance.
Right.
Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to
No.
see a non-competitive playoff game. I'd rather see Alabama get the 4 seed and take on Georgia again. Or I'd rather see Michigan jump up to 1 and take on, Ohio State again. I think that's and it obviously comes down to money, and I think the committee will weigh that in too, right? They're going to try to find a way to sneak Ohio in or Texas in if they have the chance. But
so that's where I was going to go. So let's force ourselves to kind of come up with who we think is, work the hypotheticals and figure out, who we think should take this 4th spot. To me, I think Alabama versus Texas, head-on-head matchup. Sorry, Alabama. I think the odds just aren't in your favor here, right? And I think you're probably going to lose to Georgia in the championship, this weekend too.
yeah, Bama loses, they're out. There's no way.
Bama loses, they're out. So so that discussion's over. Oregon, I think their record has been completely milquetoast, right? And so, yes, obviously they have a good loss with Washington, but I don't know. I don't totally see, based off of who they've played this season, that they really deserve to get in. So then that boils it down to Texas or Ohio State. And as you said, Mark, right, Texas is probably going to win their championship matchup. So they're 12-1, but they have a significantly worse resume than Ohio State. And I can't sit here and tell you that I don't think Ohio State doesn't deserve to be in, because you look at their wins of Notre Dame and Penn State and their one loss to the number 2 team in the country. I don't think anybody is nearly as stacked of a resume as them. When you even look at their records versus top 25, top 10, right? They're 2-1. So I wouldn't
say it's significant. I do agree that Ohio State's resume is probably better than Texas, but I wouldn't say it's significant. I mean, that win at Alabama is showing to be, because again, when these wins happen matter, but you got Texas went into Tuscaloosa and won that game. And obviously that was before Alabama really peaked. I think if Alabama and Texas played today, Alabama would win by 2 scores. But that's why these hypotheticals, it doesn't do you any good. And the committee is going to have the same conversation that you and I are having. And there is no right answer. That's the problem. Right. Is I don't think you can keep an Oregon or Washington out, because I think Oregon and Washington both would beat Texas right now. And it's tough, because if Oregon wins, then the Pac-12 is going to punish themselves if Oregon beats Washington, because then neither of those teams probably get in.
And so really quick, and pardon my ignorance, Texas is SEC next year, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, which, I mean, that's in my opinion, that's a factor too, right? And how they've stacked up against SEC and that kind of talent. So I don't know. It's tough.
Florida State's the one that's going to get screwed, because there is a chance, and there are some people out there calling for this, and I don't want to say it because I don't want to punish a team that goes undefeated just because of an injury, but Florida State most likely will win and be undefeated, 13-0, and maybe not get in the playoff. What else can you do other than win every single game you play? And your conference championship,
and it's good competition too.
I know it's not like it's bad. I mean, is it the best conference? No, probably one of the worst. But it's because what does the committee do? Do they put them in knowing they're going to get mollywopped by Michigan or Georgia in the first playoff game, and everyone knows it, and it's okay, was that really the best 4 teams? Because we've had that debate in recent years.
You can't say that if Michigan or Georgia has to play Bama or Texas or Ohio State or maybe even Oregon, right? I think Oregon.
Right, you can't say.
I test Oregon's the weakest of these 4 teams we're currently looking at, but I think
Oregon would beat Florida State. I think Texas right now. I test.
You think so?
Is the weakest, yeah. They've kind of digressed down. Yeah. Oregon has gotten better and better. Bo Nix is playing at a high level. I mean, it's tough, but Florida State is the true test for me of the committee. How important is the regular season? Because if you say that the regular season matters and you don't put Florida State in the playoff if they win, you are basically saying that the regular season does not matter at all. At the end of the day, we're just going to pick 4 teams that we think are the best 4 eye test wise. So it doesn't matter whether you win or lose.
Right.
Doesn't matter if you win your conference. I mean, I don't know, right? I don't know what they're going to do, but you also can't leave. If Alabama wins, it's going to throw a wrench in everything because you can't. If Alabama wins, you still got to put Georgia in with 1 loss because they're the defending back-to-back champs and they've won. I don't even know how many games in a row. You can't take them out. So if Alabama wins, which is very real possibility, Alabama wins. Georgia's in with Alabama. Michigan's in because they're going to whop Iowa. And then who else do you put? Do you put Ohio? Then you have 4 teams genuinely that you could argue, no matter what happens this weekend, could be in. Washington, Oregon, Texas, Ohio State, all could argue. Florida State too.
Emergency
So 5
18
teams.
playoff is the only.
I mean, call for it. Like call for the just expand it. Let us have it. This is what we've always wanted.
Yeah,
I'm calling the committee out. They're getting exposed finally for doing this the wrong way to begin with and being slow moving to try to solve this problem, which they knew could eventually happen, and it finally is happening, and they're getting exposed just in the right time, and they're going to say, well, we already fixed it. Next year will be, next year we've got it, figured out.
One team is going to get royally screwed. So
maybe 2 teams, depending on what happens with Alabama and depending on what happens with Florida State. If Florida State loses, it takes care of a lot of questions. And if Bama loses, it takes care of a lot of questions and it kind of bails out the committee. But if both those teams win, Bama and Florida State, and if Oregon wins, I have no idea what the hell what they're gonna do.
They're gonna drink a fifth of something and then just throw darts at a board of everybody that might be in the bubble. I have no clue what you're supposed to do here.
I love it though. I love it. I love the chaos.
Wanted me to show this meme really badly too.
John doesn't think it's that funny because he's a loser, but I think this is hilarious.
It is funny.
Like somebody go take him down. Somebody's got to do it. Hasbulla is funny in any sort of.
I was gonna say, how do you
content.
not like Hasbulla? So, and then the other thing that I want to chat about, well, 2 things, right? Because these aren't about recapping games. For those that don't know, the studio that Scott Hansen does Red Zone out of in California had some kind of emergency. I don't even know if it's been reported what exactly happened, but they had to evacuate the entire building. And here's Scott very calmly explaining the situation, and then before bailing out, lets you know what the situation in the game is before he even.
He didn't want to leave. He didn't want to evacuate. That is football guy all the way. Scott Hansen.
Do you have sound right now, Mark, or no? I might have to stop sharing here. Here, I'll fix that. That's my bad. Because it is way too funny to not show without the audio. There you go.
Evacuate at this time. The studio in which I'm standing needs to evacuate at this time. We are all good right now. We're remaining calm, but we are following protocols, as I'm sure you
know. Sirens in the background.
So to be continued, hopefully, although this game is in the 4th quarter, I will come back and give you a live update if and when I am able to. Thank you for your understanding and your patience. And here is 3rd and 13 for the Buffalo.
Dude, that is gold.
I might die, but here is 3rd and 13. Dude, that's a football guy. Fun fact, he and my uncle were in each other's weddings. They're like best friends.
That is awesome.
So shout out to football guy. My dad also coached Scott Hansen. So
it's too good, man. Like that is
shout out Scott Hansen.
Funny.
Football guy.
He literally is like, if it's the last thing I do, I'm going to give you 3rd and 13.
If my house caught on fire, John, I'm finishing this damn episode. And if I burn alive on camera, I burn alive. But I'm finishing this damn episode.
Football guy. All right, so here's another super fun thing that the NFL is dealing with. Before we talk about this, I want to remind everybody, Amon-Ra is on his rookie deal as a 4th-round draft pick still, which means he's getting paid roughly $50,000 per game, ballpark. Which I know, boo-hoo, he's $50,000, but like relative to his talent level and what other people at his position are getting paid, This dude is kind of getting a raw deal based off of, how talented he is and the fact he's still on his rookie deal. So he gets fined $43,709 for a block he threw against Chicago last week. He's number 14, I want to say.
Top.
Yep, right here, very top of the screen, right? And so
God,
that's it.
That's just terrible. I mean, we're playing football. Like we're playing football. Like there's going to be contact. There's going to be, and that's a minor hit.
Let's say this run is 2 yards further downfield, right? That's him literally throwing a critical block for the play. Like
it could have been. I mean, like you never know when it's going to break.
Montgomery doesn't run into Sorsdale's butt right here. He's cutting up a couple more yards, and that's the next guy there to make the tackle.
My problem with it, John, is Amon-Ra is the latest to be in this situation, but this has been happening all year. I think the NFL's already reached at this point in the season. They've already passed last year's fine and infraction total. With several weeks remaining. JJ Watt's been doing a great job. He's been very vocal on Twitter.
And he said, general rule of thumb, if you have to watch the video multiple times to try to figure out what person did something wrong and you still don't know, we probably shouldn't be taking $43,000 from someone. This is stealing money. And it is. It's theft. Are you trying to tell me that people have done things that are fine-worthy at double the rate year over year than they did last year? They've paid more in fines already this year than they did the entirety of last year, and there's still 6 games left.
It's bad. It's bad.
Insane.
It's a bad look. And it's I'm gonna blame Goodell. Blame Roger Goodell. He finds a way to get new hate every single week, it seems like, every single year. More and more people dislike that guy. The only people in the world that like him even a little bit are the majority of the owners. And that's why he remains in the position he's in.
Well, I was gonna say he is a human shield for the owners. The reason that man is still employed is he has a politician-like poise to him, and he just takes all of the flack and all of the heat 24/7, and he is a professional at sitting there and getting MF'd by everybody on the planet, and that's why he is employed. And frankly, he's damn good at his job if that's how you boil down what his job essentially is, and that is what it is, right? So, it's kind of like there's like a Stockholm syndrome complex where I'm like, I absolutely hate you, but I also kind of respect that how good you are at just being this sponge for everybody's hate at the same time. Because I don't think it's going to change. I think we are stuck with Goodell probably until the day that dude dies, honestly. Maybe he'll get tired of it, but he doesn't. He kind of seems to love it. He kind of seems to love being the most hated.
I think
man
he's like he's kind of embraced it.
Yeah,
he's kind of embraced it.
I think so. So with that, I think we're ready to dig into the games, and I guess I'm afraid of the moon now. Mark, how about you?
Nah, I'm not falling into that bullshit. Here's the reality. All right, the Lions' defense is abysmal for the 3rd straight year. And we continue to pretend like it's not a problem because we personnel-wise, we got better this offseason. And, we started off looking like we can actually get some pressure on the quarterback in week 1. And what happens is Aaron Glenn continues to buy himself a little bit of hope, a little bit of time from this fan base, from the players, from the staff. He's not a good coordinator. He's never been a good coordinator. He has not done a good job with Detroit in all 3 seasons. Obviously, there's been all kinds of other problems in Detroit during this period, but right now as it stands, our special teams are okay. Our offense is one of the best in the league. You have the pieces where you can't make the excuses. I know there's been some injuries, but you can't make the excuse to be a bottom 5 defense.
Yeah, I could buy the talent argument the past 2 years. I am struggling to buy that argument this year. Now, as you said, there's always a convenient excuse. Right now, in my opinion, the convenient excuse is turnovers, right? The Lions have had 7 turnovers in the past 8 quarters. You can make an argument that any defense is going to struggle against that. They also had obviously a really bad punt decision. I'm not even just talking points, John, because I know that
The fake punt was and I tell you this all the time, that Dan Campbell cannot help himself. He will lose us just as many games as he wins us. Chalk that up as
I would
huge
argue,
part of why we lost that game.
I was going to say, I said to you, what was it, 3 weeks ago, that eventually there was going to be a game.
Yeah.
We lost as a direct the fourth downs are all fun and games, and we can honestly attribute a lot of games to winning as a result of Dan Campbell's aggression on fourth down. But there's a time and a place, and Mark and I both said it's going to cost us a game at some point, and those conversations are going to get pretty loud. And they did. I mean, I think going
It's
for
so
it,
dumb.
Faking a punt on your own 20-yard line against
4th and 5 wasn't even like it was 1 yard. It was it was
against
very, very
an inferior opponent too.
Very, very dumb. Very, very dumb.
Not wise, and it didn't need to happen. And it's just like, play like you're the better team. And this will now lend the conversation to the defense, I think, is a problem. I don't know how they're going to reconcile this, because I think best case scenario, right? They lose Glenn to a head coaching position next year, right?
I mean, just fire the guy. Whether he goes he's not going to get a head coaching job. He's been a bottom 5.
I don't think he's going to get fired, though. That's my problem. I think if he doesn't, similar level of stubbornness about it, then
he's more likely, in my opinion, to get fired than to get a head coaching job. He has a bottom 5 defense for the 3rd year in a row. No one's going to hire that guy as a head coach.
Right.
The biggest thing is, yes, you can blame, some of the turnovers, some of the stuff that's happened on the offensive side of the ball has hurt our defense. Some of the special teams decisions on 4th down that Dan Campbell makes has hurt our defense. But just eye test, John, just watching this defense play against, we made Jordan Love look like I'm about to come out and say that Jordan Love is a franchise quarterback. That's how bad we were defensively, where we made him look that comfortable in our home field on a Thanksgiving game and a sellout crowd, where we're 8-3, we're rolling, everybody's feeling good about our team, and he comes in and just absolutely dominates us. He made it look easy all game long. Couldn't get pressure on him to save our lives. No one could cover down the field.
Offensive line that we
it was. He looked like a really good quarterback against us. They ran the ball, they hit play action, they did everything they wanted to against us with no problem at all. And a lot of it, is schematically just not a good scheme from.
Is no longer an excuse. I do not think that we are so shitty in the defensive talent department that we can't generate pressure and we can't cover guys. I would have bought that argument last year or the year before. I do not buy that argument whatsoever this year. And so we get to a point now where I just think, honestly, the way that Glenn approaches defense is very antithetical to the way that Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson approach offense. It's incredibly safe. They don't do anything aggressive. They don't take any chances. They're afraid to blitz people. They're afraid to do anything creative to generate pressure. And the coverage is very basic. Mark, would you agree with that diagnosis? I don't think our linebackers are bad. I don't think our defensive backfield is bad. I really don't. Not bottom 5 bad. Average, sure. I'd buy average, but they are not bottom 5 bad. No level of our defense, linebackers or corners and safeties, is bottom 5 talent wise.
I agree with that statement, but I would not call our roster is average. Defensively, our roster is average. Even offensively, our roster is average.
Then we should be 15 at least.
And again, that's where coaching will either enhance you, or you'll either get better because of the coach that you have, right? Talent will only take you so far. The scheme and your coach will take you either higher or lower, right? And on the offensive side of the ball, with a pretty average overall roster, Ben Johnson takes us up, right? Top 5 offense in the NFL, right? We shouldn't be. We should probably be around 10, 15, but he takes us up to the top 5. On defense, we should probably be right around 15, 16, right? Because we're right in the middle of the pack, I would say, roster-wise. We're down in the bottom 5 because Aaron Glenn is not a good defensive coordinator. That is the simple thing. And I know, John, you're a little more forgiving than I am. I would get rid of him. You're in a win now mode, and the Lions are not. We've never been in this situation, but this patience that we continue to play, not making a move in the free agency to try to help out Aiden Hutchinson in this pass rush, it is killing us. We can't get pressure on anybody, no matter who we play, no matter what the quarterback is, no matter what the scheme is. We can't get any pressure, and we can't cover well. So it's a really, really bad combination, and it's going to be the reason the Lions lose this year in the playoffs. And we can diagnose it right now, but they're not going to do anything to fix it. That's what's sickening to me. That's what bothers me.
I'm gonna be honest too. I think our secondary's fine as far as coverage goes.
Jacobs is bad. He's been bad.
I disagree, but to finish my point, I think you can't expect anybody to cover for as long as our secondary is covering when we are generally failing to generate pressure whatsoever, and we can't seem to tackle a mobile quarterback to save our lives, and those are serious issues. So look, I don't want to sound all doom and gloom. Lions are 8-3, got a big game against the Saints next week. We've seen this team look horrible and then the exact next week bounce back and completely dominate teams. You kind of have to hope that's what happens. Obviously, kind of a bit of a revenge game. Obviously, Glenn and Campbell both having ties to New Orleans. So I don't think Mark and I are completely saying that, like these are massive red flags and the ship is sinking by any means. But like, if you want to beat Philadelphia, if you want to beat San Francisco, these are things that have to be cleaned up. And right now, I do not feel confident that our defense is even close to good enough for us to beat those teams. I wouldn't care if the offense scored on every single drive. I still think we'd probably lose a game against San Francisco or the Eagles right now. So
or Dallas.
Or
potentially that
Dallas.
Brings us in, that we would lose to Dallas right now. That brings us into Dallas, and I guess we'll find out in a few weeks when we play them. But Dallas beats up on bad teams, and they did it again.
If there's anything you can rely on in NFL football, it's Dallas beating up on bad teams. I think the past 3 weeks in a row, I have taken them with like 10-point spreads, 10-point plus spreads, and they have covered every time. So, yeah, happy with that best bet. And I will say this, though. Commanders, right? Right now, they have a horrible offensive line. Their coach is 1 foot out the door. They traded away half of their defensive assets. But the new Commanders, whatever they're going to be named, it could be the Warriors has been a big front runner. Some people keep talking about the Red Tails. I don't know if they're going to be named the Commanders next year. But they currently are sitting with $90 million in cap space next year, a top 10 draft pick, and then 5 total top 100 picks. Sam Howell is not a bad quarterback. I just think he lacks protection.
I can't believe you're doing this right now with the Commanders. You're like the number one Commanders hater of all time.
I hate, and
you are coming out here and you are giving them hope.
This is an incredibly attractive head coaching spot. Out of all of the teams that are currently about to lack a head coach, Raiders, Panthers, we'll get to Panthers, obviously. Commanders, the Rivera's almost assuredly going to be fired this year. I think them and maybe the Chargers will be the 2 most attractive spots because I don't think Staley's going to be here at the end of the season.
I'm surprised he hasn't been fired yet.
Same.
He might be fired when this episode airs tomorrow morning.
Probably. Am I crazy here, or
a little bit?
Team feel like it's
still
changeover in owner? Yeah, but new ownership. I hear
what you're saying. It's just you're assuming that they handle all of that the right way, which they've never done.
Fair, but they also had the biggest dipshit owner of all time, and if you're a Detroit Lions fan, you know what a change in ownership has done for a team. And so,
well, we'll see. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Not trying to get ahead of ourselves. I just wanted to point it out.
See what happens. I also want to give a shout out to Dak because we do a lot of hate on this podcast for the Cowboys. But Dak, what that dude's been through, all right. I mean, he's been through a lot. I think he lost his mom not too long ago. Lost his brother to suicide. He got jumped on vacation and got beat to like unconscious a few years ago. He had that horrible injury where he snapped his ankle. And to overcome everything that he was a late draft pick who had to come in and replace Tony Romo, who's like one of the legendary NFL quarterbacks, and he's playing for America's team where there's just so much pressure on you always, and he is balling out. I mean, you could argue MVP season right now for Dak, and the Cowboys are looking better and better, and they're beating up on the teams they're supposed to. You look at their losses. I mean, they have a bad loss to the Cardinals, but besides that, I mean, the 49ers are a good team, and the Eagles are the 2 top teams in the NFC. Their other losses.
Yeah,
so
I mean, they definitely look very good. And that you were right. Dak, pretty much
balling.
Yeah, he put a flag down and said, "I'm not going to have a turnover problem this year like I did last year," and he's lived up to that promise. In a huge way so far this year.
I hate Dallas, but I root for Dak. I like Dak.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, there's a lot of players on the Cowboys that I like, but I just hate the Cowboys in general.
I mean, most people do. You either love him or you hate him. But Dak is a guy that you can't hate. It's very, very hard to hate him.
Yeah. So, good team. Obviously, I'd say, right now you can't be a Lions fan and be under the delusion that we're the third best team in the NFC. I think that pretty handedly belongs to the Cowboys at the moment. And then big matchup implications next week with the Seahawks, who are kind of in the playoff bubble. And they just played San Fran and got slaughtered by them. I mean, obviously, they've been on the wrong side of some injuries and they've had some issues, but I mean, this was just an ass whooping. San Fran completely took it to them. And now the Seahawks are going down a very rough stretch here. They have the Cowboys, they have San Fran again, they have the Eagles. And so if they want to keep their playoff hopes alive, they better hope that they, squeak a win or two out in the next few weeks here.
Doesn't look good for Seattle. It does not look good for Seattle.
The other thing, too, is that Woolen, who had a phenomenal rookie season, actually got benched during this game, apparently for not necessarily for coverage problems, but for tackling problems. And so another thing to keep an eye on, I don't know why his play has regressed so much, because I thought that he was, like I said, had a very impressive rookie season, but something's going on there as well. And then, San Fran's kind of back to playing the football that we're used to watching them play. So
49ers are back. If you doubted them on their 3-game losing streak, you're an idiot. They're back.
Yeah, it happens. Good teams go into slumps. Casey, has gone through a few of them over the years. I mean, even Patriots, whoever you can name, a lot of these really consistently good teams sometimes just find themselves in a rut, and it's their ability to dig themselves out of it. And 49ers, I think, have done exactly that. They've proven that over the past few games here. Okay, dumpster fire alert. Mark, the Jets are not going to be able to stay in it for Aaron Rodgers. I think we can kind of officially say that. They are in tatters offensively.
They're defeated. I mean, they're just defeated. You can see it on the pick six at the end of the half, 99-yard pick six, which again was a great play by Miami, but you could just see the offense just defeated. I mean, the receivers are jogging down the field. They're not hopeful. I mean, Boyle couldn't even get it to the goal line. And then once that ball gets picked off, I mean, the effort was not great from the rest of the guys trying to hustle to make the play. Boyle gets juked out of his socks. Breece Hall gets run over. I mean, those are the only two guys back there that could even make the tackle.
Offensive line sucks.
The offensive really line struggles. I mean, and then it's contagious because the Jets defense plays lights out. And then when you have a play like that happen that just demoralizes you and just takes everything out of you, then you don't have a defense that's playing with that same passion anymore, because what are they playing for? They know they're going to lose anyway. So I honestly feel bad for the Jets, dude. I feel bad for the Jets. They went all in on a lot of guys. A lot of these people that Rodgers brought with him are hurting them far more than helping them. Bringing Lazard in, bringing Randall Cobb in,
most drops in
Delvin
his
Cook.
Career.
Yeah, I mean, it's not good. It's not good.
And to add insult to injury, I think the Jets. And it's fun again. History repeating itself. It is kind of funny how it happens. What I see, the writing on the wall right now, Rodgers is going to come back next year. It actually forces the organization to want to double down on what I think is going to end up being a failed experiment even more, right? Where they're going to be going crazy in free agency. They're going to look a lot like the Rams, right? Where they are just throwing everything into one season because they feel like the window that they had is about to close. And by the way, this is if Rob Saleh is around next season, which is not guaranteed by any means. And that is a whole other wrench to throw into this situation. But I think they're going to be forced into a situation where they're putting everything into next season. And if it doesn't work out for them, they are going to become the same old Jets that we are used to knowing very quickly. And they're, what was a top 5 defense isn't going to look like that anymore. They're going to be missing Rodgers. They're not going to know what to do about their quarterback situation, and it's going to be same old shit. I know that Mark and I were saying Super Bowl potential for this team, not 6-7 weeks ago, if they can hang until Rodgers was healthy. That window has definitely closed, and now you're looking at next season, and next season feels like a trap to say the least.
it
Am
just
I
shows you
framing this incorrectly? Or
No, I mean it shows you the value of Aaron Rodgers, and it shows you the light that a team can have and the passion a team can have when you have a guy like that at the helm. Second that he went down, you had a worry that this kind of thing would happen. You hoped Zach Wilson would be able to come in and keep him alive long enough. They're just really, really bad at the quarterback position. Hackett's getting exposed. Without Rodgers, he's not a very good offensive coordinator. It's tough, dude. I feel bad for the Jets.
It sucks.
I wanted them to be better. I still believe in once Rodgers comes back. Even this year, with as bad as they are right now, if Rodgers was their quarterback, I do think that they're one of the best teams in the AFC. And it's just because they have a great defense, and he changes everything for you. He makes your play caller better. He makes your receivers better. He makes your O-line better. He helps your running game. Like, I don't think people realize the effect that having a Hall of Fame quarterback has on the team. And so when he comes back next year, people should believe in the Jets. They should be hopeful. But until then, it's dark.
And by the way, for those that don't believe in the Aaron Rodgers effect, look at what Tom Brady did to a Tampa team that didn't even make the playoffs a year prior. I mean, when it comes to getting over the hump, elevating the talent around you, elevating the coaches around you, one guy can legitimately do that at the quarterback position. It is possible. And I hope, I legitimately hope the Jets are a contender next year. Because like I said, I don't know what to feel otherwise as a Jets fan, other than just having fingers crossed that, they're able to kind of go all in and make something happen next year.
Quick update too. Dobbs just threw his fourth pick, and the Bears have a 6-point lead right now in the fourth quarter.
It is 9-3 to start the fourth quarter.
We're keeping an eye on that as we work our way to the last game of our recap. But I
think I'm about to watch this interception happen. So let me just.
Are you behind?
I don't know if I am or not. Actually,
because I mean, the Bears are driving now.
It's 1st and 10 Vikings on my side, so I must be behind.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right, Saints Falcons. Let's talk about this shitter of a game that Mark bullied me into taking a best bets for.
Hey,
and again,
for the record, John, we both have one loss in our best bets this week. Okay, we both went 2-1.
I could be 25 and 24.
Correct. Saying. And you can always continue to get back to above 500. But I want to put an asterisk next to mine because the Jets were going to cover that game if they didn't throw that 99-yard pick six. Okay? So that's bullshit. And then I want to put an asterisk next to John's because I knew that would happen, and I did bully him into it and trick him into it. And if you watch last week's episode, you will know exactly what we're talking about. I guilted him into it. He's a Saints fan. I made him do that, knowing damn well that this was a trap.
And I said it at the very start that I did not like how we were looking there. Arthur Smith's offense looked like a serious offense for once. Marshawn Lattimore is on IR. Saints are looking banged up without a whole lot of vision or purpose behind the way they're playing football, especially offensively. And again, the Falcons offense did something for once, which was, fun, I guess. So, that's pretty much the wrap on that game. Obviously, Saints do not cover, losing the game. I'm pissed. And by the way, this division, dumpster fire again.
Always
2
is.
years in a row.
Always
2 years in a row, dumpster fire.
Call Drew Brees up.
Yeah, whose arm apparently just doesn't work anymore. Did you hear that report?
I mean, I'm not surprised, dude. You play football that long? I mean, I played football my whole life, stopped at age 23, and I can barely walk. So,
being 40,
playing till you're 40 and having far more contact. And
yeah, he said his right shoulder just like isn't a thing anymore, basically. So, sorry, Drew Brees, but hopefully you enjoy retirement.
Justin Fields just turned over. Damn it. In field goal range.
Dude, are you kidding me? Oh, I just saw that.
Yeah, he fumbled.
This game stinks.
Yeah, it's a stinker. It is.
It's
but we're rooting hard for the Bears. If you're a Lions fan,
we are.
We need to. The Vikings need to fall off so that we have a little less pressure. Steelers without Matt Canada, John. Over 400 yards of offense for the first time in I think over 50 games.
Yeah, but still only score 16 points with that though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
some
still got to get the
turnovers.
red zone figured out. Still got to get the turnovers figured out.
But a win's a win. And the Steelers, again, they're the most up and down team that you could ever imagine. I'd hate having to root for the Steelers, I'll be honest with you. I feel awful for Cincinnati. I mean, we have all the hype going into the season, the revenge against Kansas City. It felt like it was going to happen. Bro just started feeling healthy, reeling. It looks like they rattled off a couple wins. He goes down, and they just... I mean, this is a bad loss, and it stinks.
And playoff team. Sorry,
they're not a playoff team, and even if they were, they have no chance of doing anything magical. The Steelers team, on the other hand, Mike Tomlin just finds ways to get these guys ready to play. He finds ways to motivate this team and give them belief, because this team isn't very good.
This is the shittiest team with a winning record I think I've ever seen. Actually,
dude, they're just well coached, and they know what they are, and they play into that, and it's.
Like, I think
I don't know.
Last year's Giants team was better than...
I want to put a bullshit alert on Deontay Johnson. Did you see the laziness that he had on some of those plays, especially the fumble where he didn't even try to make a tackle or recover?
Well, and he was making the claim that the whole reason the Steelers are having all these issues is Canada, right?
I know.
He was
a lot of them were.
Right.
He
was
tweeted after the
shit-talking
game.
Canada to
he
his
literally
face.
tweeted after the game saying like, wow, weird how we had like a successful offensive game. And I'm like, dude, you dropped a touchdown. And that was one of the reasons you only had 16 points. And on your turnovers, on the fumble, you didn't even try to tackle a guy. So kind of like screw you is my whole thought with that.
Well, and I think you said this, a few episodes again. Tomlin's ability to manage horrible egos,
bad attitudes,
crybaby, bad attitudes is incredibly impressive, because he has had to deal with quite a share of egotistical, selfish NFL players, and he somehow is able to manage those egos better than probably any other coach in the league, if I'm being honest. Moving on to what we said was a very big AFC South matchup. Jags come out on top.
Whoop.
Asterisk, though. Can I say there's
what?
The officiating
Don't give me that
not in Houston's
bullshit.
favor. Dude.
That doesn't mean they were going to win.
Wasn't a catch.
Doesn't mean they were going to win.
Yeah, he also had a 60-yard reception called back for a legal motion that was literally the Miami Dolphins motion that they run all the time.
Also, John, did he bobble that ball at all? I mean, that still frame picture shows me that he's in that moment, but that ball could have bobbled.
Somebody got into an argument. It's either this or the quote tweet that came with it, and there were multiple other shots of, no, this should have been a catch. So... look, I'm just saying Houston got the brunt of the officiating. Yes, you're right that I shouldn't be attributing the win or the loss. But when it's a 3-point game, I think it's allowed to be a little bit of a conversation. I have no horse in this race. I don't really care who won this game.
I feel good about it because it was a best bet, and I'm just absolutely hot
just
as
a genius.
Gets.
Sure.
I mean, dude, John, do you know what my record is in bets best in the last 5 weeks overall in the best bets?
I don't know it off the top of my head.
You know how many losses I have in the last
2.
5 weeks? 2.
Yeah, pretty impressive.
2 losses in 5 weeks. I think I have 12.
You're like, I was going to say, you're probably like 12 or 13-2. So,
yeah, we're rolling. We're rolling on this podcast. Again, I say it all the time. If you want to win money, you come and ride.
Hey, Mark, the Indianapolis Colts are in the playoff bubble.
Yeah, I mean it's sickening. You know what this does, John? It just confirms our take on Anthony Richardson. And I get to slam dunk on these idiots all the time. They're a better team without that dude. They're a better team with Gardner Minshew. And if you don't admit it, you just want to buy into the hype. You just want to buy into the bullshit hype.
I mean, we haven't seen nearly enough of Anthony Richardson to make
I've seen enough of Minshew. They're winning games.
Minshew looks good.
They're a playoff bubble team right now. Will we be saying that with Anthony Richardson? We'll never know.
So that's my big question, right? Richardson comes back next year. Let's say by the grace of God he plays, 15 out of 17 games or whatever without too many injuries. Are they a playoff team next year with him? And that's the tell, right? I mean, that's really going to be.
I mean, I don't know.
So it's a weird situation if you're a Colts fan. I don't know how I'd be treating this entire thing. I mean, I would have to be pretty stoked on Shane Steichen as the head coach. I mean,
he's done a good job.
Yeah, he's getting a lot out of a team that really doesn't have a lot of talent on it. So Offensive line playing significantly better than they were last year with not a whole lot of movement on the talent front there. All right, tank pool number 1. Got Patriots at Giants.
You know what this is?
Tommy DeVito.
It's the Italian army. It's the Italians. The Italian Americans are taking over football, dude. It's all about the Italians when it comes to this game. Tommy DeVito, America's hero. That's all you need to know.
Okay.
2 wins as a starter. 2 wins.
Pretty impressive.
As a starter. 2 wins as a starter. He's representing the Italian American culture very, very well.
Against
he's
the
embracing
Patriots,
it.
Doesn't say much, but I'll take
Hey,
it.
you got to respect it. A win's a win in this league, and he's got 2 straight wins.
Facts.
The Patriots also, somehow, some way, are even tanking better than anybody. So they're the best team for 20 years. They're a dynasty, right? Belichick, Brady. And then the second that they're not a dynasty, they're the best tanking team we've ever seen.
And the thing is that, as everybody knows, Belichick has some weird drafting habits. Well, he's probably not even going to be around to. I don't know. Is Belichick gone after this year? I don't know what to make of this.
I want to hear what Patriots fans have to say, because if you're like a diehard Patriots fan, I feel like you're actually really torn, because this happens in really anything. But some of the most successful people, sometimes they don't know when they've lost it, right? Some of the best coaches are great when they're in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and then they get to this point where whatever got them to where they were, as in terms of accomplishments, they start to lose that edge. They start to lose a schematic advantage. Like other younger minds start to innovate and figure you out. And I feel like Belichick he's lost it. Like he's not the same, he's not the same coach that he once was. And
Yeah,
I feel like if you're a Patriots fan, you had some great runs, you had some great memories, but that doesn't mean you can't. It's a win. It's what have you done for me now? It's a what have you done for me now league.
Now, I don't know if you spend too much time thinking about this, but I do of retirement gigs, right? Like when I retire, I want to just like build guitars. Like that sounds like a fun retirement gig to me, right? I'm sure you have a couple.
What are you, the guy from freaking Surf's Up building his surfboard?
Exactly, right? I'm gonna do all the
Big Z.
finance. Yep, there we go.
Oh my god, I can't even imagine your hair is gonna look like when you do that.
Yeah, dude, I was looking at our intro reel and seeing like how long I let my beard get some months. I was like, oh my god.
So I wouldn't even recognize you.
Oh yeah,
at that point,
it sounds like an ideal retirement gig. Me being like a 70-year-old man, kind of look like Zeus, and I just like sit around and make guitars. Sounds great. Anyways, is Bill Belichick's retirement gig being the defensive coordinator for some team?
No,
that's right. Relinquish some responsibility. Doesn't have to be the head coach. Doesn't have to steer the ship. Just has to make sure the defense is playing good. Which, by the way, the Patriots' defense is still very good, despite how horrible.
I don't know if they're very good. I think they play good against bad teams.
I think they're
bad quarterbacks.
They're top 10 defensively.
I would say they're okay. But again, I don't know, John. I feel like he's going to be done. I feel like he's not going to want to start somewhere fresh. And I honestly don't know what Robert Kraft does in this situation. He's the best coach ever. There's really no debate about it. I think he got uplifted big time by Tom Brady and had the blessing of having that guy at quarterback for 20 years. But I don't know what you can say here. I don't know what Patriots fans want. If this was me if this was the Lions and we had won 6 Super Bowls with this coach, I would say let it ride till he dies or retires. Like, let him be our coach until he chooses not to be. Or
maybe
dies.
he'll see the writing on the wall and do it himself. I'm not sure, but he seems too stubborn to do that.
That's what I'm saying. I think him being stubborn is part of the problem. I think that's why they're worse.
Right.
He doesn't hire the right assistants. He doesn't draft right. He doesn't use free agency the right way. He's stuck in his old ways, and it worked when you had Tom Brady as kind of like the bridge, the bridge of the gap between players and coaches, because the Patriot way only works if the players buy into it. And again, in the NFL, there's so many egos and stuff that it doesn't usually work. But when you have a guy like Brady that bridges that gap between the authority and the guys that are working for you, it works. When you lose that, we've seen that it does not work.
Yeah. All right. So Mark, you're a wide receiver.
I am
a
former
wide receiver. You have what I would say educated takes and, good input based off of, wide receiver play at this level. going to show you a clip, and the challenge is to not vomit on screen while you
Ooh.
watch this. This particular Panthers play.
I mean, it's almost as if he tried to get his feet out of bounds. Like that's like the inverse of what he should have been trying to do.
Right.
Is it a good throw? No, but I've never been the person that blames the throw ever. Like if you're a receiver and you get even a single finger on the ball, you should catch it. In my opinion, that's what I tell my players. When I coach, that's what I told myself when I played. If you can touch it, you can catch it. I don't care where the ball is put. I don't care if you're about to get hit. I don't care if there's a defender all over you. If you can touch it, you can catch it. And he gets 2 hands on this ball with some room, too. And all he has to do is a little toe drag and a little bit of body control and a little bit of awareness. And that's a
and
first
he,
down.
reverse, swan dives.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. But you know what, John? This happens in the NFL. You know why? And I'm going to call out owners and coaches. People value the wrong things when they scout receivers. They look at speed. They look at big playability. When almost, 90%
how's that working
of the
out
time,
for Quentin Johnson, by the way?
Exactly. Yeah, they look at size. Most of the time, you just need a receiver that can get open, whether he's fast or whether he's quick or he's just a good route runner. Doesn't matter. If he gets open, he gets open. Okay? You need a guy that gets open. You need a guy who's sure-handed. Most of the time, that's going to be your more consistent, better receiver. Every team will have a Tyreek Hill, a Tank Dell, a guy, a Jameson Williamson, a guy that has speed that can take the top off a defense. But you don't need 3 of those. Okay? You need sure-handed dudes that will consistently move the chains on 3rd and 9, on plays like that. And they always get it wrong and think that it's always about the guy, the home run hitting guy, the big tall guy, the burner. And you just draft the guy that actually plays the receiver position the best. The best receivers that we see, the Devontae Adams, the Cooper Kupps, the Justin Jeffersons, the Jamar Chase, Stephon Diggs, those guys are sure-handed. They run great routes, and then they can do some stuff after the catch. But none of them are freaking, just straight freak burners. They're not slow, but, you know what I mean? They get open in other ways.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and you get size variance in that list that you just had.
Right.
But you are right
Yeah.
that none of those guys. I mean, Tyreek Hill is the only truly
He's a
elite
freak.
wide receiver in the league.
He's so fast, dude.
Eats you with speed, and it is because he is the fastest. It's not he's fast. He is faster than everyone else by a huge margin. So sorry for the tangent. Honestly, I have no additional input on the Panthers Titans game.
Titans can't win an away game to save their lives, and they seem to be pretty damn good at winning
Is
games.
Vrabel gone at the end of the season?
I don't think Vrabel's gone.
Okay.
I don't
It's not a
know.
rough
I could be
season.
wrong, but I mean, hey, if he isn't gone and Belichick is, that's who I'm hiring if I'm the Patriots. I'm hiring Vrabel.
Interesting. Okay. I see that.
Expatriate. He's
Yeah.
a Patriot born. He's a modern day Patriot that you want to bring in, who will hire the right people.
Fit. Good cultural
Oh,
successor.
totally, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, if he's not getting hired as a head coach, Detroit should call him and bring him in as a DC. Stat.
Dude, Dan Campbell and Vrabel on the same.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, man.
Or
That would
Saleh.
Yeah, or Saleh.
Or
I
Ron
think
Rivera. Or Ron Rivera. Bring in a DC that knows what they're talking about.
Right. Yeah. Rams, Cardinals. Rams just destroyed them. I mean, there's not a whole lot to add to this conversation other than the Rams came to play. And are there any conversations to be had about playoff bubble with the way that the NFC is shaping up?
Unfortunately, there are.
I mean,
Unfortunately, there are.
hey, that Seahawks win. I know Geno got hurt. That Seahawks win was pretty impressive. They were in it up until Geno got hurt too. I'd argue they win that game even. with
Touchdown
Geno.
Vikings, Hawkinson. Damn it.
No way.
5 minutes left. Dobbs has
Uh-oh.
4 picks, but they're going to take the lead. They're going to kick an extra point and take the lead.
Okay, but so Bears are a field goal to win it though. At the moment.
Yeah, but dude, come on.
Right.
They don't want to win games. We're the only ones rooting for the Bears. Chicago is rooting for them to lose.
Right. Detroit is rooting for the Bears harder than Chicago is. That's funny. All right. So the Denver Broncos, Mark. I get that the Browns are lacking a legitimate quarterback. I would say that DTR actually did okay this game until he got hurt. But the Denver Broncos are truly the story here. Is Sean
I don't know what's
Payton-
happening.
I think Sean Payton was taking a train wreck and somehow, some way is actually turning them into a team that can win some games. And not only that, their schedule's not too difficult down the stretch here. And so talk about teams that are probably in the playoff bubble somehow, some way. This is one of them.
John, since that 70-point burger that Miami put on them, I think they've only allowed 80 points total
80 points since. It's crazy.
So you mix that with the improvement of Russell Wilson, which has shocked everybody.
The defense is once again playing like a defense that is
and we knew
five.
the defense would eventually, like, the defense for Denver hasn't been the problem the last few years. In fact, it was actually
last year they were
good.
a top 3 defense.
Yeah.
So.
It's been Russell Wilson, and it seems as though they've kind of figured it out a little bit, and it's scary because I don't want to see the Broncos play in the playoffs. Do I have to take? Should I take it out of the ticker?
Let's get.
What do they have?
More week.
If they win 6 straight, if I put them in my best bets this week, I'm taking it out of the ticker. Okay. We'll see. I'm going to evaluate it because I'm not confident in them still. After winning 5 straight, I'm still not confident. But they continue to prove us wrong.
Who's their matchup this week? Okay, this is a good matchup, right? You're not missing your starting quarterback. There's no big injuries. There's no big whatever. If you can pull that one, there's no flukes, right? Like the Bills game. Like if you can make that happen, I'm thinking Sean Payton's actually doing it. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Oh my god.
All right, KC Raiders. KC owns the Raiders.
Hey, 14-0 Raiders in this game. Did I worry? Did I worry that they wouldn't cover 9.5? You bet your ass. But they did cover. They did cover 9.5. And so in a much more real sense, I wasn't worried because it's the Chiefs. And they were pissed off, motivated, revenge. They lost the week prior. Mahomes hates Max Crosby. This is what I love. This is what I love to see.
I'm trying to pull this picture up as quickly. This is Aiden O'Connell first half and second half right there. That was that game. So
I mean, you knew when that score got to 14-0 that the Chiefs were going to win. But did you think they were going to cover? Probably not. But hey, you put in the best bets because you believe it and you stick with it. And I never wavered.
Oh, hey, before we move on to the next game, there was something we really should have covered with Panthers Titans. Duh. Ousted mid-season.
I think it's premature.
I think it's super premature, and I also don't think he was the problem. Are you kidding me? Yeah, so you take a significant amount of draft capital. This is inverse Washington Commanders right now. Your owner is willing to take a significant amount of draft capital, trade up to have the first overall pick, drafts the quarterback that the head coach doesn't want, has no other draft capital to work with for the head coach to actually, have some input on molding his team and figuring out what kind of players he wants to work with. Horrible offensive line, slow ass receivers, and then you fire the head coach.
I mean, this is just the owner being too hands-on, John. The owner has too much say in what's happening. The owner's trying to assume basically that they know more than these football-minded people that have been around it their whole lives. And when you have an owner like that does that, this is what you get. This franchise is not going anywhere in a positive way anytime soon either. That's the problem
too, unfortunately.
Yeah, the problem is there's no bright light at the end of the tunnel right now. There's no hope. They don't have, like you said, they don't have cap. They don't have draft space. They don't have
very unattractive to whoever.
Very unattractive, dude. And Bryce Young seems to not. Justin Fields just threw another pick.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
So game's over potentially.
Pretty much 3 minutes left.
Hold them to a field goal here. You got a chance, or I mean, even a touchdown. I guess it's an 8-point game. Yeah, it's a really bizarre situation, and so I like the speculation, right? Being a finance guy, so Tepper, he's wealthy because he's a really good investor. He's like a hedge fund manager. He's made a bunch of crazy successful trades over his life. Speculation is first time that he's actually looking at odds and people here, and he's not able to like actually figure out the investment calculus that goes into drafting good players and all those things, because it's not just numbers and technical analysis and balance sheets anymore. There's like people, there's relationships, there's film, there's all these other things that go into it. And I think if he manages a football team like he manages a hedge fund and continues to do that, I think you're right, Mark. I think it's very dark times for the Panthers for the foreseeable future. So, and he just became the owner relatively recently.
And he's just got his hands. He's way too involved.
Yeah.
He's way too involved. Way too quick. Decisions are made way too quick. This was dumb.
Very, very unwise. All right. Bills-Eagles was an awesome game. The Bills, kind of played like, I would say the past, 2 years. They looked more like that team. They have definitely improved offensively ever since firing their OC, which still don't know how much I agree with that decision, but they have been better. Yeah.
I don't know if that was the cause.
But the game boils down to an overtime loss. But it was a fun game to watch through and through. I don't have much input other than Eagles continue to be a really, really good freaking team. They look scarier.
They find ways to win, dude. Jalen Hurts is one of the more clutch players in the NFL, if not the most clutch player in the NFL. That is not a dude that you can ever feel safe with a lead when you're going against him. Josh Allen, you feel bad for the guy. He's 0-6 in these overtime games now. He drives right down the field. And John, I mean, I can explain that last play, the Bills play where they throw it to Gabe Davis, and he basically what happened was he had a choice route. He had an option route. If you get one high safety, he's supposed to break to the corner away from that single high safety. If you get two high safeties, the middle of the field's open, he's supposed to break on the post, which is where Josh Allen threw it, because it was technically middle of the field open because they played straight man across the board and brought pressure. So there was a miscommunication there. Gabe Davis broke the wrong way, and Josh Allen threw it. And again, if Josh Allen throws it to the corner to touchdown, or if Gabe Davis breaks to the middle to touchdown, because he had his guy beat both ways. I mean, he was open no matter which way you draw it up. Unfortunately, they were on the wrong page, and that's the difference between kicking a field goal and scoring a game-winning touchdown and giving no chance for Hurts and the Eagles to try to steal that game. Also, the 60-yard kick was insane in those conditions.
Yeah.
To even force overtime. Right. I can't believe. I mean, I feel like the Eagles are using up all their magic, which is what I hope. I hope they're using all this magic now, and it's gonna run out.
I don't know, man. They look like a rock solid football team that it's like you don't really have a lot of questions, right? Like defensively, they can generate a pass rush on anybody. Their secondary is really good. Offensively, it's a first and 9, basically, no matter what the situation is. They're very fundamentally sound, really good offensive line, really great weapons around that offensive line. A quarterback that I think is still probably underrated to some degree. I mean, they're a scary team, man. And I think right now, if I had to, make any guesses, I think we see San Fran and the Eagles rematching in an NFC championship again. I mean, I just think they're objectively the best teams in the NFC. So that's all I got on that front. Baltimore Chargers. Now I'll pay respects to the Chargers real quick. First of all,
this is the future of offensive football, John. I've been saying this since preseason when we started some film on it, and I will eventually do a full episode breakdown in the offseason of why laterals are the future of offensive football. That will come this offseason.
This play is awesome. This game was horrible for 3 quarters and then really good in the 4th. This uniform matchup might be one of my favorites that I've seen all season. The white helmets with the super dark navy bolt, and then the Baltimore with the aways, but you got the black helmets on, purple pants. I mean, just amazing uniform matchup.
Yeah, so basically, you throw the crossing route to Keenan Allen, you get soft coverage because it's 3rd and 17, and Eckler on the other side runs a rail route and basically just trails, and he basically catches it and throws it right back across the field to Eckler, and they get the first down. It's really, really creative. Kellen Moore doing a great job. I'm telling you that you're going to see that more and more on normal downs. We've seen Kansas City try it a few times. Eventually, we're going to see that more and more. It's going to become, an innovative part of offensive football. I love it, and I will do a full breakdown on why that's going to be a common thing that's seen moving forward.
Definitely bookmark that play as one of the prime examples. It was a damn good play. Chargers. This game was very close. All the way until the buzzer, basically. Zay Flowers kind of had his breakout game. This one, 2 touchdowns.
Dumb of him to score on the last one, by the way, John. Low football IQ. Should have slid, take a knee on the game.
You're right. Really, really, I think. I mean, I feel horrible for Justin Herbert. I'll say that for starters. This dude. I mean, I feel like he's totally just at the mercy of a shitty head coach. I know there's things he can be doing better, but I think overall he's still easily top 10, maybe even you can make the argument top 5 quarterback in the league. And he is 30-30 as a Charger. Has seen the playoffs, one time, which was also an embarrassment. Yeah, it was very.
John, they haven't won a game in those uniforms, the ones you like, those blue.
Yeah,
the dark blue.
Creamsicles, I think, for Tampa's like 1-4 in the creamsicles too. So look, sometimes the drip just has bad luck, but I have to acknowledge the drip. They looked sick even though they lost. So
look good, feel good, lose good.
Yep. I'm waiting to see what the final is on this Chicago Vikings game. I'm seeing a replay right now, but I haven't seen the score.
There's like
yet,
a minute.
no.
There's a minute left. It's still the Vikings up 10-9.
Okay.
I think the Bears just got the ball back. They just punted it to them, so it's commercial right now. But if we want, we can go in and start doing our picks and then recap it like as it. We'll live react to what happens. I can't really see anything other than the Bears blowing it and losing.
Yeah,
happening.
Just commercial break just ended for me, so I'm watching this play right now. Fields with a nice pass to Moore. Are actually at midfield now. All right, we'll see what happens.
Better believe it. Let's get a game-winning field goal, boys.
Best bets. We got a lot of good matchups this week, honestly. Starting off, Thursday Night Football, short week. I do not think that works in the Seahawks' favor in any way, shape, or form against the Cowboys. Cowboys are 8.5-point favorites. I think Geno Smith is like officially good and healthy at this point.
I think so. Does he look good? No, but he's playing.
So I don't quite know where we're at in that front. I like Dallas to win. I like them to cover, but I am not adding them into my best bets this time around.
Agreed. Same. I think Dallas takes care of business, but probably covers, but
they're finally playing a good team, and so I don't know about the whole coverage thing. I've been hammering the Dallas spreads the past 3 weeks. First time I'm taking a break in a minute. Colts at Titans, AFC South matchup. Colts are in the playoff hunt. Titans are getting 2.5 points at home dogs. I like the Titans to win this one, honestly. I like them to cover at the very least.
So do I. Do we like it or do we love it?
I don't love it. I don't love it
either. I don't love it either. But
but one you might love, one that you're at least going to have to entertain. The Denver Broncos are getting 3.5 points at Houston, who's coming off of a very close loss. The Broncos are going for 6 straight wins, playing some of the best football that they have in a long time. What say you, Mark?
I like the Broncos to cover in my best bets. Motherfucker.
Ooh.
Yeah, drag that sucker over there. I know in the ticker, John, if this works, we have to take it. We have to take it out of the ticker
curse.
If it fails, we have to add it twice.
I think that's only fair.
So I'm doing it. This is like I'm going against everything that past Mark said to do and past John told past Mark to do.
And past John would be very upset. But current John's pretty in support of it. I kind of want to see what happens.
Present Mark feels good about it. And hey,
Present John's in support of it.
this is truly testing how hot I am picking, because if I'm right on this too, even going against Pass Mark, because listen, Pass Mark, a huge part of why I've gotten hot is because I stopped listening to Pass Mark and started looking to current Mark. And now I'm breaking Pass Mark's rules.
Yeah, we'll see.
But I think they cover. I think they cover.
Brand new Mark.
I think C.J. Stroud gets overwhelmed a little bit. I think Russell Wilson goes in there. Broncos defense plays well. I think they cover. I don't know if they win. I think
it's a good matchup, regardless. For in the Broncos' favor too, I would say.
Huge game for Houston.
Yeah, got to stay afloat here, man. I mean, the whole hype train's riding on your shoulders. You got to keep it going. Do the Chargers finally win one, Mark? Chargers are favored by 6 points. I don't like them to cover that based off of what I've seen the past 3 weeks, but I do like Chargers to win at the very least.
I kind of feel like the Chargers do cover it. The Patriots blow ass, dude.
They're not good, but
oh my God,
they
DJ
can play
Moore.
defense.
DJ Moore to the 15-yard line.
Yep,
to the 10. Oh my God, the Bears! Come on,
they're in
kick
field
a game
goal
winner.
range. Yeah,
for sure they are. Kick this thing and win this thing. Dude, Justin Fields, by the way, John, I'm going to just say it. I think they should keep him.
He's a good quarterback.
I think they should keep him. I think they should keep him. I'd rather have him, I think, than a rookie quarterback that you don't know. And like, he's proven to me,
dude,
with the right coach, with the right pieces around him. So, we can recap this game real quick. Well, we'll wait. We'll wait and see if they finish it. We'll wait and see if they finish it.
All right, Lions at Saints. Saints are getting 4 points. I'm not touching this one from a best bets, but I like the Lions to win this. I think it's a game you. By the way, they win this one and they beat Denver in a few weeks, they would sweep both of their divisional schedules. They'd sweep the entire NFC South and they'd sweep the entire AFC West, which is kind of cool. Neither of those things have happened yet, so don't want to jinx it. But I think the Lions revenge game. Former staffers, I think they know how to beat this team. I think Lattimore being hurt is massive.
Is he for sure not playing?
He's on IR, so yes, he's not going to be back for another 3 weeks at minimum.
And Michael Thomas is still out.
Michael Thomas is still out. They have.
And Jameis is starting.
No, I think Carr's back.
Is Carr back?
He's been doing a horrible job of managing any sort of pressure. If I'm Aaron Glenn here, I'm blitzing a lot more frequently because Carr's been immobile and making horrible mistakes in the face of pressure. I will say this, Alex Anzalone is out. I know that only matters to Lions fans who are Anzalone believers. I am one of them, but I do think that matters. He is a leader on defense, and defense has not been very great lately, as we know. So
I think it would allow us to at least see how Jack Campbell does more in like the true position that Jack Campbell's supposed to be playing, which is the one that Anzalone currently plays. Right. I think we'll see, like, he'll be maybe more comfortable replacing Anzalone rather than being more off the ball. So right. I don't know. Maybe he'll do better there. I will take the Lions to win as well, but I'm not putting in my best bets because their defense is atrocious and because I could see Derek Carr picking us apart.
I got concern. I don't know about Derek Carr picking us.
If he picks us apart, we fire Aaron Glenn.
Yeah, probably should. Frankly, I put it this way: I think if you can't scheme up a good defensive game plan against your former team that still has the same offensive coordinator whose habits you know very well, that's a huge red flag, right? Am I crazy in saying that? Like, you should know how to scheme against the offensive coordinator you saw in practice for like 4 years, right?
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay, cool. Especially with the timid quarterback.
Oh my God, he missed the field goal.
No way.
Wait, no, that was earlier.
Okay.
Wait, no. Okay, that threw me off.
You're
Holy shit, false alarm. They showed the replay. I looked down, John, I have it on my phone underneath.
And
so
I'm looking
at you, and I look down and I see a missed field goal. And that's all I see. The score's not on the bottom. Anything. I just see a missed field goal. I'm like, oh my God. Holy shit. Minor heart attack. Glad we're live.
Right.
Holy shit. He's lining it up right now.
Okay.
let's watch this. Let's recap this game. And let's get back into our Steelers Cardinals pick.
Yeah, sounds good. You're a little bit ahead of me, but that's okay.
Do you want me to say what happens?
Yeah, just go ahead. I mean,
He made it.
made it.
Bears. 10 seconds left to take a lead.
Let's go Bears.
Bear down.
They had to feel like the
I
Lions
felt good
game
about
was haunting them with how this game is.
Yeah.
This was like a repeat of that game, except the Bears actually win it.
This is huge for the Lions.
Massive.
Because that pretty much kills the Vikings. I mean,
So the magic number is 5. Any number of 5 between Lions wins and Vikings losses is Lions win the division. So that's 1 Vikings loss so far. So we need either 2 more Vikings losses or 2 more Lions wins, basically.
that's big for the Bears. Shout out to the Bears. Bear down.
All right. Cardinals at Steelers. Steelers are 5.5-point favorites. I like the Steelers to win here. And honestly, 400 yards total offense last week. I might like them to cover.
They got out of Canada. They got out of Canada and they're back to America.
And as a show of support.
Woo! Look at this.
Might be a pick I regret, but I'm not sure, man. I kind of like Steelers at home. Terrible towels flying. Cardinals aren't used to seeing this team super often. I like it.
I like it too, but I'm not putting it in my best bets.
For sure. Falcons at Jets. If Jets lose this one, they are dead, period. There's no playoff hopes alive. They're done.
Is it weird that I like the Jets?
I don't think so. I mean, getting 3, too.
Anytime John looks at me and tilts his head.
What are you doing? What are you thinking?
I mean, I put in my best bets last week and they murked me, and that was my only loss.
Yeah, but
I can't do it. I can't do it, dude. Tim Boyle's terrible.
Tim Boyle. I would not be betting on Tim Boyle's success. That's for sure. All right, Dolphins at Commanders. The under/over I would note is 50.5. That is massive. Commanders are getting 9.5 points. I don't know what to do about this.
Dude, this Fumblerooski play that the Vikings are running is just hilarious. They've thrown it forward like 3 times. It's just like a joke. All right, back to reality here.
I like the Dolphins to win, and I think I like them to cover, but not best bets level of confidence here.
I kind of think Washington covers 9.5. Little shootout type of game, perhaps.
It's definitely a little shootout-y. I'm getting shootout vibes for sure.
We haven't seen as many shootouts this year.
Yeah.
I feel like this has shootout written. Look at the 50.5 over under.
That's massive.
Yeah.
That's implying shootout. If anything, implies shootout. Panthers at Tampa. I think Tampa destroys this team, even though they're not that good either.
Is Baker healthy? I know Baker had some issues this week.
I think he's healthy. Questioning that, I don't think I'm going to add in my best bets.
But what about your like, you know, hey, coach just fired?
Good point.
You've been riding that this year, and it's gotten you some wins in this best bet battle.
That is true, except in this
case, and you know who's stepping into basically lead them, right?
Who?
Your good old friend, Jim Caldwell.
No, he's still in an assistant role. I think the special teams coordinator is the head coach. Here's the thing with that take though. It's always if like the coach, like without a doubt, sucks, deserves to get fired, right? Like if Brandon Staley gets fired next week, I expect the Chargers to win that game. I really don't back the Frank Reich firing. I don't think that was a good move, and so I'm not entirely sure about what that's actually going to do for the Panthers' morale, because he wasn't necessarily the problem. So I'm not going to apply that rule this time around. Like you're firing a Josh McDaniels, you're firing a Matt Patricia. Yeah, no, you take that every time. But this, I'm not sure. I think this is more disheartening than anything. Half the coaching staff goes with them too, that's rare. I mean, that's pretty crazy. All right, Browns with again missing Deshaun Watson, probably missing Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I don't know what his official injury was. It looked like a concussion.
He was bleeding out of his mouth. So I don't know. That's never great.
Never.
Also, it was a bullshit call. It was not roughing the passer, and it was not targeting.
It wasn't. It was a
football
big
is getting
hit.
so damn soft. I mean, yeah, it's just a big hit. That's part of a physical sport that we play. Like, I'm so sick and tired of every time there's a big hit, gotta throw the laundry, gotta do it, gotta protect the players.
Right. Yeah.
Like, we're not playing soccer.
I like the Rams here, and I like the Rams to cover, I think. I mean, their playoff hopes are as alive as anybody's. I do think Matt Stafford might throw 3 interceptions this game against that Browns defense, but that's
lock that in. Lock that in. If I could put that in the best bets, I'd put it. Over
I'll let
Stafford's picks.
I'll let you.
What's 3 picks is crazy. It's probably set at 1.5. I feel like this breaks our whole best bet rules all season.
I can't pull up the line fast enough either, so we'll leave it for now.
Wasn't meant to be. But yeah, if you like player moves, I would do that. I think the Browns cover, maybe even win. So I don't trust Stafford against a defense like that.
All right, we got San Fran at Philly, NFC Championship
rematch,
revenge game rematch.
This is a double revenge game, though, John. So normally I'd be all over San Francisco because they want the revenge because they got totally screwed over getting all their quarterbacks hurt in the first half of the game and literally had Christian McCaffrey taking snaps at quarterback. But the Eagles had to hear about that and had that win, with an asterisk next to it for the last year. And so they also are pissed off and want to prove that they were the rightful team to win that game. So this is double revenge. They both basically want to prove the point of we run the NFC.
And I got to be honest, man. I think the Eagles have the better matchup situation.
I kind of agree.
I think you throw a lot of pressure in Brock Purdy's face. I don't know how well he gets it done. And so
I kind of agree.
Oof. I like Eagles here. And they're getting 2.5 at home.
I know.
I mean, really? Dude, I might have to my best bets. I don't know. This is tough.
I'll
take the over. I'm going to add the over.
That's fair. That's a fair. I don't know, man. I'm torn because I kind of want to put. I kind of want to put the 49ers in my best bets, but I can't go against the Eagles right now. I've just seen too much good out of them, and I cannot go against Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
He's
They've been playing some damn good football lately, for real.
Yeah, I'm going to stay away from this one. But what I am going to go is I'm going to go back up to the Chargers-Pats game because I've had my eye on it for the last 5 minutes, and I haven't said anything. Give me the under in that game.
Okay.
I don't think the Patriots will score, at all.
Will score, period.
They might score 6 points. I think.
What if they put up a 50 burger and then Brandon Staley gets left behind on the East Coast?
That's where he belongs. Him and Bill both get fired. What if they both get fired because these teams tie? In a 3-3 game. Just fire them both. This is terrible.
KC at Green Bay.
Legendary uniform matchup here.
This is about to be. I want yellow from both teams. I want yellow pants from both teams.
No, shut up. That's too much yellow, dude.
I want this to be the McDonald's special.
No.
No. In all seriousness, man, with the way I don't know, how are we feeling about Jordan Love at this point in the season? Because I don't know if last week was a fluke, and that does scare me.
It wasn't a fluke.
I think
he's a franchise quarter.
getting
He's
momentum.
He's a franchise quarterback. They're getting momentum at the right time. Problem is, he went against the Lions defense.
And Casey's defense is
Really good and really good at creating turnovers, creating pressures. And Mahomes is starting to click with some of these guys at the right time. Give me the Chiefs' best bet.
Okay. Before you do that, I want to note that MVS and Hardman are both injured.
Doesn't matter. Both those guys can't catch a ball. And in fact, that makes me want to do it more.
Okay. Noted.
Give me more Sky Moore. Give me more Kadarius Toney. Give me more Rashid Rice. Give me way more touches for Kelsey.
Tony might be hurt too, but I digress.
Whatever. He also can't catch. Give me the guys that can catch the ball. Give me Watson. Give me Kelsey. Give me Sky Moore. Book it.
And then Monday Night Football, Bengals at Jags, favorited by 8 points. If it was 7, I would be adding Jags to my best bets right now. I don't know about 8 because Bengals defense is still playing pretty good. So I'm not going to touch it. I got Steelers and
It's a good cat matchup.
It is a good cat matchup.
We should just scratch this game and let a Jaguar wrestle a Tiger.
That sounds great. I'm a big fan of that.
Tiger would kill him.
Think so?
You know tigers are the biggest cats?
Bigger than lions?
Oh, yeah.
For real?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Learn something new every day. Fun facts here on the Practice Squad pod.
Fun facts. And then bye weeks, of course, we got Baltimore, Bills, Chicago, Raiders, Vikings, Giants, and Frank Reich.
A lot of buys. Let's recap our best bets because I feel pretty good again. I got 3. John's got 2. But I have, in my best bets, I've got the Broncos, okay, plus 3.5 going into Houston. I've got the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football to cover 6.5 against the Packers. And I got the Patriots-Chargers game to go under 40.5. And I'm riding with that confident.
And then my recap, I got Steelers minus 5.5 at home against the Cardinals. I think the Matt Canada firing is lending well to the Steelers' offensive efficiency. And I got the San Francisco Eagles game going over 46.5 points because I think that both those teams have a lot to prove, and it should be a pretty fun game to watch. So that is the episode. That's our best bets. A little bit longer today, but man, there's a lot of good football to cover. I mean,
a lot of good football. College football is heating up. Championship weekend coming. John, real quick, give me your picks for championship weekend. Bama, Georgia, Michigan, Iowa.
Okay, so you can name them all off the top of your head. That's good. I like Georgia, SEC. I like obviously Michigan, Iowa. Anyway, you got Texas, Oklahoma State, right? I like Texas there. You got Oregon and Washington.
Yep.
Okay, I like Oregon there. Little revenge. And then ACC's Florida State versus
Louisville.
Louisville. I like Florida State to win that one with their third or second string quarterback. How about you?
I like Michigan to blow out Iowa. I like Oklahoma State to actually cover against Texas. I think they keep it close, but Texas probably squeaks away with one. I like Alabama to beat Georgia, believe it or not, in the SEC championship. I like Louisville to beat Florida State in the ACC championship as well.
That combination,
and I like Oregon to beat Washington. So you're seeing upsets.
Ooh, Max.
What's the
Max
spread of that game?
I don't know.
9.5. Washington is an underdog to Oregon.
Interesting. Okay.
Washington beat Oregon previously this year. Okay.
Right.
And they're 9.5 point underdogs.
I mean, I guess that's.
Am I reading that right?
Maybe.
Yeah.
It sounds right. Because I think Bo Nix has really improved that much, and this team has improved that much over the season. But
I'm for sure betting them Washington to cover. I'm betting Michigan to cover. I'm betting Alabama to cover.
Giving?
23. It's a joke. Iowa won't score.
No, they won't.
I think I'm gonna bet that Iowa will get shut out. 0 points.
Depending on what the payout.
The over/under is 35.5.
So Michigan scores 42 is what I'm hearing.
And I think I'm going to hammer the over because Michigan will score more than Michigan will score 38 at least. I know Iowa's defense is good. I don't know, dude. I love championship weekend. I love college championship weekend, NFL championship weekend. Like I love that, but college I love it because it has so much value right now. There's so much.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the way that you're thinking this weekend is going to shape up would throw the playoff picture into pure chaos. So I like it.
I can't wait.
Chaos.
I love it. I'm gonna post some TikToks on it because I'm fired up about it.
I'll join you in that endeavor. Who did you not pick? No, you got everybody.
I picked everybody.
Cool.
But I might do a little parlay that I might put out there for the people.
Last thing I want to mention before we wrap up: how many quarterbacks are drafted in the first round this year?
Dude, 5 or 6.
I think 5 or 6 is the right answer, and I think
they're all
I think
worthy
they're-
of first round picks.
yeah, I was about to say I think they all are going to be deserving of it. And actually
This might go down as the best quarterback draft class in the last decade.
You could be
There's
right.
some serious talent. I can't wait till we get to draft analysis. We have so much good stuff coming this offseason.
We go hard in the offseason.
We're gonna get on the film. We're gonna dude.
It's gonna be some good stuff.
If you don't subscribe and you're just watching this because you like game recaps and picks and stuff, like we have a lot more than just that.
Yeah, thanks for segueing into the closing remarks. If you are not subscribed yet, you should do that. If you had some opinions that you disagreed with that Mark and I had, go ahead and let us know in the comment section. Like the video, check out our merch store, check out our other social medias. We post a lot of short form content throughout the week, all of that good stuff. We appreciate all of it. Putting a lot of effort in to grow. Every little bit helps. So thank you guys. We will see you next week with game recaps. And wish Mark good luck on his Broncos best bet. Honestly, I'm pulling for it. I want to see it happen.
I'm nervous.
We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
See ya.